Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I am Deepika Mehto, and coming up in the next 1 hour. Bharatiya Janata Party releases its election manifesto for upcoming Lok Sabha polls. Party promises one nation, one election and UCC among others. Prime Minister Modi says party's manifesto focused towards empowering 4 strong pillars of developed India. On situation in West Asia, India urges immediate de-escalation and calls for diplomacy. World leaders denounce Iran's strikes on Israel. UN chief condemns serious escalation by Iran. And in a mouth-watering clash, Ruud all set to face Ruud and Tsitsipas in a bid to secure biggest title of the year on Sunday in France. And now let's begin the show with the latest on the world's largest democratic elections of India. With its main focus on the upliftment of women, youth, farmers and the poor, India's ruling party, the BJP, released its election manifesto for the 2024 Lok Sabha polls in the national capital on Sunday. Along with Prime Minister Narendra Modi, BJP President JP Nadda, Union Ministers Amit Shah, Rajnath Singh, Nirmala Sitharaman and Dr. S. Jaishankar were also present at the launch. At the release of the BJP's manifesto, Prime Minister also met with a number of beneficiaries of the central government schemes and handed a copy of each to the beneficiaries. The BJP's manifesto now promises bringing all the citizens above 70 years of age under the ambit of Ayushman Bharat scheme, implement the Uniform Civil Code, one nation, one election among others. Prime Minister Narendra Modi also said that the manifesto focuses on the dignity and quality of life of the citizens.
हमारा फोकस डिग्निटी ऑफ लाइफ उस पर है. हमारा फोकस क्वालिटी ऑफ लाइफ उस पर है. हमारा फोकस निवेश से नौकरी पर भी है. इस संकल्प पत्र में क्वांटिटी ऑफ अपॉर्चुनिटीज और क्वालिटी ऑफ अपॉर्चुनिटीज दोनों पर बहुत जोर दिया गया है.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi said the entire country waits for the BJP's manifesto and there's a big reason behind it, as in the last 10 years, the BJP has implemented every point of its manifesto as a guarantee on the ground.
पूरे देश को भाजपा के संकल्प पत्र का बहुत इंतजार रहता है और इसका एक बड़ा कारण है. 10 वर्षों में भाजपा ने अपने संकल्प पत्र के हर बिंदु को गारंटी के रूप में जमीन पर उतारा है. भाजपा ने मैनिफेस्टो की सूचिता को फिर स्थापित किया है. ये संकल्प पत्र विकसित भारत के 4 मजबूत स्तंभ युवा शक्ति, नारी शक्ति, गरीब, किसान, इन सभी को सशक्त करता है.
As the great Indian elections, we now bring you to a range of unique and innovative election stories from all over India. And in Meghalaya's capital, Shillong, DD India correspondent Akshay Dongre spoke with the 3-term member of the parliament from Shillong, Vincent Pala, as the member of the parliament who holds public and pocket meetings in the evening to ensure that the participation of all working people in the election process, with the aim to woo every single voter from the respective constituency.
We're right now in Shillong, the capital of Meghalaya, and with us we have the Member of Parliament. In fact, he has been Member of Parliament for the past 3 terms, Mr. Vincent Pala. Sir, how is the campaign process going on? How unique do you find campaigning in Meghalaya as compared to other states? What is the unique factor here?
The unique in Meghalaya is in other states, you know, whenever you go for a campaign, there'll be a huge crowd. But I've been contesting for the last 3 terms. In Meghalaya, people, they don't come for a campaign much. Number one is a small state. Number 2 is people are always busy on their own. And here people used to sleep early. Right. So if you have an evening meeting, normally you'll not get the crowd. But what we do, we used to go during the market day and we go to a marketplace, we have a meeting.
What do you think are the key issues here that the people face?
You know, number one, be it Meghalaya, be it in other states, the issue always, people talk always with development. I think as an MP for the last 15 years, I have done definitely quite a lot in terms of infrastructure, in road constructions and other things. But at the same time, more than development, I think people here need peace and harmony. And the people here are very sensitive about their culture.
Right.
And people here are very sensitive about their jobs and their freedom. So with that in mind, in our campaign, when we become an MP, when we become anything, we have to look in that direction also. Because Shillong has a legacy from the British time.
That was Mr. Vincent Pala, the Member of Parliament from Shillong constituency. He has been Member of Parliament for the past 15 years, that means 3 terms, and he is contesting for the 4th term as well from the Congress party. With camera person Akshay Sharma, Akshay Dongri, DD India.
And now Akshay joins us from Shillong. Good evening, Akshay. Thank you so much for joining us here on DD India News Hour. We just saw your interaction with the MP also. But when we talk about the challenges, what are the, first of all, regional issues that people are looking at to be addressed ahead of their polling day, Akshay?
Well, Deepika, right now we are in Shillong, and right now where I'm standing, it's raining heavily. In fact, true to its name, as Meghalaya is called the abode of clouds, it usually rains almost, throughout the year. So different from the scorching heat of North India and South India because of the summer season. Here in Northeast, the campaign style is different, the issues are different, and the demands of people and the way the candidates, in fact, who voters is different as well. In fact, when we look at this state, when we look at Shillong city, infrastructure remains one of the key issues that the people have been raising because of heavy rains. Roads need to be robust, connectivity remains an issue because this is a hilly state, and as far as the people are concerned, they have been asking for employment. As far as the candidates are concerned, the leader who come for campaigning and canvassing during the elections. And like the earlier times as well, this time as well, employment, infrastructure, development of the state, inflation, all of these issues are on the priority as far as the people and their demands are concerned. So I would like to show to our viewers that what exactly the Shillong constituency looks like. Almost throughout the year it rains. It's a beautiful state, it's a beautiful part of the country, and it's raining right now where we are standing. And even though it rains almost every part throughout the year, people find ways around it, and that is why infrastructure remains one of the most key, or rather one of the most core demands of the voters here in this constituency as well as the entire state of Meghalaya, Deepika.
And in that case, Akshay, how promising is the BJP manifesto in tandem with the expectations of the local people of Shillong? Because it does talk about development that the party is going to focus.
Well, Deepika, absolutely. As far as the poll manifesto of the Bharatiya Janata Party that has come today itself is concerned, yes, there are certain aspects of development, infrastructure boosting, connectivity is one of the key issues. In fact, in the last 10 years, what we have seen, in fact, one of the biggest boost in terms of development has been the connectivity. Northeast has been put on the map when it comes to the infrastructure development projects, and the Bharatiya Janata Party, as it is promising in the poll manifesto, that is also one of the key demands of the people of Northeast, because the connectivity has remained poor in not just Meghalaya but across the Northeast. People have to take entire days to travel just from one state to another. So that is an issue for the people of the Northeast, and that in fact is promised by the Bharatiya Janata Party and other parties as well. They have been promising the Northeast this particular aspect of development, that is connectivity, which remains the core issue of the poll promises that have been given by the Bharatiya Janata Party this time. And even though they are not contesting directly on both the seats, the BJP is supporting the National People's Party, that is an ally of the BJP in the NDA. So as far as the poll manifesto of the BJP is concerned, in the center, that is one of the core demand of the people of the Northeast and Meghalaya especially.
All right, and we hope and we expect that the voters would go out in large numbers to see their dreams come true there in the Northeast. Thank you so much, Akshay, for joining us and bringing us the latest on recent developments. Moving on, security measures are now being taken in the sensitive area of Gadchiroli by the police force. Additional force has now been deployed for peaceful elections that will be held on the 19th of this month in Maharashtra's Gadchiroli. DD India's Shishir Shelar reports.
Right now I'm in Gadchiroli, and the Gadchiroli is one of the, we can say that a Naxal affected area, where to carry this entire process and the election process is a bit taskier. But in spite of that, this time around we have seen a quite heavy deployment in Gadchiroli, and probably we may see that this time around also the election process will go peacefully. To get more details on it, right now we have with us Mr. Nilotpal also, who's SP of Gadchiroli and looking after the entire operations here. So first of all, my first question is to that, what are the deployment plans for the election day? As I've heard that extra police force have been deployed, advanced machineries have also been used for this time around particularly. So if you could throw some light on it.
As you know, 19th we are going for polls in the first phase of election on 19th of April, and Gadchiroli is one of the 12 most affected Maoist district of the country. So on that line we have started our preparation almost 6 months back for this Lok Sabha election. And in last 1 year we have opened 4 new armed outposts, which has reduced our security vacuum area of around 2000 square kilometer. So that is why we have received 40 companies of CAPFs this time. So total deployment of CAPFs will be 87 companies, because 47 are in situ deployed companies of Gadchiroli, 30 of CRPF and 17 of SRPF. So 87 CAPF companies, 1500 outside assistance from Maharashtra police has been provided. 1750 home guards have been provided to us. So on that day of polling on 19th of April, there will be around 15,000 security forces who will be there on the ground to get the election conducted in a very peaceful manner. For assisting that, we have 948 booths. Out of that, 361 booths we have declared as critical from the LWE point of view. So out of these 361 LWE critical booths, 206 booths will have heli dropping of EVM and poll parties. So 824 passengers, including the presiding officer, and 206 EVMs. They will be dropped by MI-17 choppers. 6 MI-17 choppers are coming for the first time this time to Gadchiroli. We have vehicle mounted deep search mile detector, which can do the road opening at a pace of 20 km per hour. So 4 of vehicle mounted DSMDs we have procured this time. 750 km of road opening will be doing, that will be doing thrice. So these all companies have presently been inducted for getting a peaceful elections done. And all these measures, we are hopeful that the present election will be more peaceful compared to the elections of 2009.
From Gadchiroli, now let's move on to Bhandara, which is the district of Maharashtra, and Shishir Shelar joins us straight from Bhandara. Shishir, good evening. Thank you so much for joining us here on DD India News Hour. First of all, when we talk about the political rallies, how are the parties presenting themselves in Bhandara? As after the latest split, this is going to be a litmus test, especially for Congress. We'll try connecting with Shishir. There seems to be some connectivity issue, but we are going for a short break, but still to come on DD India News Hour. North Korea's king meets China's top legislator Zhao Liji. Abortion rights activists rally in Florida, the USA, to support a voter referendum that would lay down abortion protections into the state constitution.
Across the world have lost such perfect weather days to extreme temperatures and extreme weather events. We're just always hopping from heat waves, droughts, forest fires, to floods, hailstorms and cyclones, and then the cold wave.
Here the root causes, we are forgetting that our vernacular traditions have been climate friendly. Climate change is a new thing.
Yes.
None of us have dealt with it before.
People are not aware of the risk. They are unwillingly exposed to high level of air pollution, heat, both outdoor, indoor. So the first step definitely is that creating awareness among them.
Millions of liters of water flow down the Rhine. That covers Mannheim's heating needs several times over, even at such cold temperatures.
Rivers are squeezed into ever higher and narrow banks to give space to houses, industries and agriculture. We need to reverse this approach.
Welcome back after that short break. You're watching DD India News Hour. Well, Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Sunday addressed a public rally in Madhya Pradesh's Hoshangabad. Hitting out at the Congress party, he said that the Congress party is threatening the country that will be on fire if Modi becomes Prime Minister for the third time. Now today, there is no fire in the country. There is only jealousy in their hearts.
14 में भी बोलते थे, कभी आग लगी क्या? ये 19 में भी बोलते थे, कभी आग लगी क्या? ये राम मंदिर के लिए भी बोलते थे, कभी आग लगी क्या? ये 370 के लिए भी बोलते थे, आग लगी क्या? बस देश को डराओ, घबराओ, भ्रम फैलाओ। भाइयों और बहनों, आग देश में नहीं लगी, आग जलन उनके दिलों में लगी है। ये जलन उनके दिल और दिमाग में ऐसे भरी पड़ी है कि वो उनको अंदर से जलाती जा रही है।
Bahujan Samaj Party's chief Mayawati addressed a public meeting in Muzaffarnagar of Uttar Pradesh. She also said that BSP never let any riots happen in western Uttar Pradesh. She further added that there had been no communal riots under the leadership of BSP. The party took good care of not letting any community feel neglected and also created a brotherhood among different communities, said Mayawati. India's eastern state, Arunachal Pradesh, is going to the polls in the first phase of the general Lok Sabha elections, which is the 19th of April. Amidst the hustle and bustle of the right campaign schedule of the candidates, DD India correspondent Dipyendu Mondal caught up with the state BJP president and in charge of party's election management, Tarak, to talk about election preparedness. Let's take a listen.
The state is also holding, two election, one the parliamentary as well as the assembly elections together. So how is the BJP prepared?
The Pradesh में by assembly election and parliamentary election simultaneous election हो रहा है. हमारा यहाँ में दो parliamentary constituency, एक west and एक east. West का जो माननीय किरण रिजिजू जो आप सबको मालूम है, यूनियन मंत्री है. ईस्ट का तापिर गाँव जी है, वो भी नेशनल फिगर का पर्सनालिटी रखता है. और इसके अलावा हमारा यहाँ 60 असेंबली कॉन्स्टिट्यूंसीज में पोल जा रहा है 19 को. 60 आउट ऑफ 60 हमको 10 अनकॉन्टेस्ट हो गया और अभी फ़िलहाल हमको 50 में ही इलेक्शन लड़ रहा है.
हाउ डिड द बीजेपी कम दिस लॉन्ग वे till here, to an extent that moving the Congress from power after 70 years and then having about 10 seats uncontested?
देखिए, अरुणाचल प्रदेश में जब से अपना भाजपा सरकार आया लास्ट 8 years में, आप सबको मालूम है, यहाँ एयरपोर्ट बन गया, हाईवे बन गया. इसके बाद अपना बहुत सारा जो इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर सरकार के लिए, अपना यहाँ लोगों के लिए जो सिविक एमिनिटीज़ हो गया, इनका जो रिक्वायरमेंट है वो इस्टेब्लिश हुआ. इसके बाद एम्प्लॉयमेंट जनरेशन हुआ. इसके अलावा यहाँ में अपना सरकार का जो एम्प्लॉयमेंट के लिए जो नेसेसरी जो फैसिलिटीज़ देना है अकॉर्डिंग टू, तो उसको भी अपना सरकार ने फुलफिल किया. कोई भी ऐसा बॉर्डर नहीं है अरुणाचल प्रदेश इंडो तिब्बत बॉर्डर. इनफैक्ट इंडिया का लॉन्गेस्ट हम लोग का जो इंडो तिब्बत बॉर्डर शेयर करता है, ऐसा कोई बॉर्डर नहीं है कि अपना वहाँ में सड़क नहीं जोड़ा हो। भाजपा आने के बाद 560 वाइब्रेंट विलेज अप्रूव किया है। हमारा यहाँ अरुणाचल प्रदेश अगला 10 साल में पावर हाउस ऑफ इंडिया बनने जा रहा है, क्योंकि यहाँ मेजर मेगा डैम्स अभी बन रहा है।
Well, you see the confidence of the BJP is building up here in Arunachal Pradesh right before the election, and the BJP is confident that they will win both the assembly as well as the parliamentary elections here in Arunachal Pradesh. With camera person Jagmohan, this is Divyendu Model from Itanagar, Arunachal Pradesh for DD India.
The northeastern state of Arunachal Pradesh is going to polls in the first phase of the general elections, and the state is witnessing a battle between the two leading political parties, which are the BJP and the Congress. Issues such as development, healthcare, education and employment have been dominating the state ahead of the crucial elections. Here's a report by DD India correspondent Divyendu from Itanagar.
Arunachal Pradesh, also known as the land of the rising sun, the state which comprises a large tribal population, is witnessing a fierce contest between the ruling BJP and the Congress. The state has just 2 seats in the Indian Parliament's lower house, and this time the contest for seats in the Lok Sabha will witness a tough fight between the sitting Union Minister Kiran Rijiju of the BJP and the former Congress Chief Minister Nabam Tuki. The issues of development in the northeastern region of India have been a key focus of the present dispensation. Over the last 1 decade, the region has witnessed a major development in road infrastructure due to its close proximity to China. The state has also witnessed infra push along the Indo-China border in the upper reaches of the state of Arunachal Pradesh. But many issues still remain at large for the big chunk of the population of Arunachal Pradesh.
We are expecting more development in our state. We would vote to the members of parliament who will work for the progress of our region. I would like to thank the government for the development of roads, railways and airport.
Despite the developmental works being done by the government here in the state, some say the people's representatives who would secure their victory from the state should raise their voice in the national capital of Delhi about the lack of proper healthcare, schools, education in the hinterlands of the state. Not just this, but also about the employment of the youths of the state. Some say even electricity connectivity around the deep hinterlands of the state still remains a problem.
I hope the right representative wins who can work for development on state and national level. Some districts are still facing issues regarding road and electricity connectivity. Representative who wins from state should resolve these issues.
Not just the parliament seats, but Arunachal Pradesh is also witnessing the state legislative elections in the state. The state, which has 60 assembly seats, is seeing a multi-corner fight amongst the national parties and also the regional parties of the state. Interestingly, 10 of the 60 seats have already been won by the BJP uncontested, as the opposition could not find any suitable candidate to contest against the BJP.
The battle here in Arunachal Pradesh is being fiercely and politically fought between the Congress and the BJP. But it is the people of the state of Arunachal Pradesh that will decide on the 19th of April who their representative would be, thousands of kilometers away in the Parliament of India in New Delhi. With camera person Jagmohan, this is Divyendu Model from Itanagar for DD India.
The 3 parliamentary seats going to polls in the first phase of the 7-phased general Lok Sabha elections in the state of West Bengal also hold over 300 large and hundreds of small tea gardens. They form a vital part of the economy of Duar's region, falling in the foothills of the Himalayas. Over 5 lakh tea workers depend on them for their livelihood, and they are facing a range of challenges from low wages to their land rights. During the elections, they are pressing for their demands and seeking solutions to their problems from the political leadership. Gautam Roy reports from Jalpaiguri.
There are over 300 large and hundreds of small tea gardens in Duar's area of northwest Bengal, which has 3 parliamentary seats: Jalpaiguri, Alipurduar and Cooch Behar going to polls on the 19th of this month. Over 5 lakh families depend on them for their livelihood, but multiple challenges confront them these days. In election time, they are looking to get their aspirations fulfilled by their political leaders.
जमीन का पट्टा सब नहीं मिला है हम लोग का अभी तक, और जो हम लोग का न्यूनतम मजदूरी मिलने वाला था वो अभी तक नहीं मिला है.
थोड़ा कुछ तो दिक्कत होता ही है. 250 में यार क्या होगा? आज का भाव में 250 रुपया में कुछ होगा? उससे ज़्यादा होने से और अच्छा लड़का लड़की को पढ़ाने सकेगा. बीमारी होने से कुछ बढ़िया होगा.
The region's tea industry overall faces challenges on these fronts. Workers' wages are stagnant and below minimum wage. There is discontent over workers' socio-economic conditions. The workers are seeking more welfare measures. Tea garden owners and companies complain of high costs, lower earnings. Lower quality tea being smuggled in from across borders and being sold as high quality Indian tea. Competition from other exporters in Sri Lanka and Kenya. Over 12 large tea gardens have shut down due to unviability. Even climate change is posing a dire threat to the tea industry.
Climate change comes in a big way in between. Say, last rain we have received in October. After 6 months, we've received the first rainfall out here. And that too also is not sufficient. And as because there is no rainfall, so we have to continuously run the irrigation set. That adds up to expenditure. And apart from that, the prolonged dry period attracts more pest and disease activity to the tea plantation. So that's an added problem.
The political leadership, be it the Prime Minister Narendra Modi ruled central government or Mamata Banerjee's government in West Bengal, is aware of the issues. They have been coming up with solutions from time to time despite exchanging barbs over these matters. But tea workers' union leaders say a comprehensive approach with mutual understanding is needed to resolve matters.
The plantation sector of India cannot run without some sorts of that supervision or monitoring or some sorts of policy backup, because today we are in a globally open economy. So our government policy is very much required, along with some leverage of the major plantation states' government's policy.
Tea has been the traditional lifeblood of the doers economy for decades. It's an industry in transition along with many other allied activities like timber, tourism and others. And it needs attention from policymakers in both Delhi and in Kolkata. An election season, that is what the expectation of all the people who are depending on it for its livelihood. With camera person Sumit Dhuman, Gautam Roy, Jalpaiguri, DD India.
It's time to take a short break on DD India News Hour, but still to come on the other side. India marks the birth anniversary of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, who's been the chief architect of Indian Constitution. And G7 leaders to discuss Iranian attack in Sunday video call.
Across the world have lost such perfect weather days to extreme temperatures and extreme weather events. We're just always hopping from heat waves, droughts, forest fires, to floods, hailstorms and cyclones, and then the cold wave.
Here the root causes, we are forgetting that our vernacular traditions have been climate friendly. Climate change is a new thing.
Yes.
None of us have dealt with it before.
People are not aware of the risk. They are unwillingly exposed to high level of air pollution, heat, both outdoor, indoor. So the first step definitely is that creating awareness among them.
Millions of liters of water flow down the Rhine that covers Mannheim's heating needs several times over, even at such cold temperatures.
Rivers are squeezed into ever higher and narrow banks to give space to houses, industries, and agriculture. We need to reverse this approach.
Welcome back after that short break. You're watching DD India News Hour with me, Deepika. Let's quickly recap the top headlines of the hour. Bharatiya Janata Party releases its election manifesto for the upcoming Lok Sabha polls. Party promises one nation, one election and UCC among others. PM Modi says party's manifesto focused towards empowering 4 strong pillars of developed India. On situation in West Asia, India urges immediate de-escalation and calls for diplomacy. World leaders denounce Iran strikes on Israel. UN chief condemns serious escalation by Iran. And in sports, in a mouth-watering clash, Ruud all set to face Ruud and Tsitsipas in a bid to secure biggest title of the year on Sunday in France. Iran launched a swarm of explosive drones and fired missiles at Israel late on Saturday in its first ever direct attack on Israeli territory, risking a major escalation as the United States pledged ironclad backing for Israel. A barrage of objects were seen flying through the sky from Bethlehem, West Bank, in the early hours of Sunday as drones and missile attacks from Iran are expected to continue towards Israel. Meanwhile, Israel said it had intercepted 99% of Iranian projectiles launched at Israel last night, says IDF spokesperson. Now, one of the 331 missiles and drones launched by Iran at Israel and 185 out of 185 kamikaze drones were shot down. 103 out of 110 ballistic missiles were shot down. Not only this, 36 out of 36 cruise missiles were also shot down. 7 ballistic missiles impacts have been recorded on Israeli territory along with this.
Tonight, Iran launched a large-scale of coordinated attack on Israel. The regime in Iran fired a massive swarm over 200 killer drones, cruise missiles and ballistic missiles towards the state of Israel. Together with our allies and partners across the region, we are operating at this very moment to defend Israel from Iran's attack. So far, we have intercepted the vast majority of incoming missiles by Israeli systems. So far, we have intercepted and are continuing to intercept dozens of attack drones as well as cruise missiles and ballistic missiles outside of Israel's border. A number of Iranian missiles fell inside Israeli territory, causing minor damage to a military base with no casualties. Only one little girl has been hurt, and we hope she will be well.
Italy, that holds the rotating presidency of the G7, has called a video meeting of G7 leaders on Sunday to discuss Iran's attack on Israel late on Saturday. The G7 call will be held in the early afternoon as per European time. US President Joe Biden has pledged a coordinated G7 diplomatic response to the drone and missile attack, which he condemned. An Italian foreign minister said he hoped that the Israeli government shows restraint in its response. German Chancellor Olaf Scholz condemned Iranian airstrikes on Israel on Sunday. Taking to social media platform X, Scholz said that the attack on Israeli territory by Iran was unjustifiable and risks a further escalation in the region. He also said that Germany stands by Israel. The Chancellor Scholz is on a 3-day visit to China, where talks with the Chinese leadership in Beijing are planned to take place on Tuesday. The United Nations Security Council is now set to meet on Sunday after Israel requested the Council to condemn Iran's attack on Israel and designate the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps a terrorist organization. The meeting will take place at 2000 hours GMT. Israel's ambassador to the United Nations, Gilad Ardan, requested the Council to hold an emergency meeting in a letter on Saturday to the Council's president. Iran launched a swarm of explosive drones and fired missiles at Israel late on Saturday in its first ever direct attack on Israeli territory, risking a major escalation. World leaders have condemned Iran's attack against Israel on Saturday. In a post on social media platform X, US President Joe Biden reaffirmed his country's ironclad support to Israel against threats from Iran and its proxies. European Union and its member countries, Spain, Denmark, France, Netherlands and Norway have also condemned the attack. European Union's top diplomat Josep Borrell termed this attack as an unprecedented escalation. Canadian Prime Minister also supported Israel's right to defend itself and its people from these attacks. Not only this, British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak also condemned Iran's reckless attacks against Israel. Sunak in a statement said, and I quote a statement here, "These strikes risk inflaming tensions and destabilizing the region. Iran has once again demonstrated that it is intent on sowing chaos in its own backyard." He further added that the UK will continue to stand up for Israel's security and that of all regional partners, including Jordan and Iraq. India's Ministry of External Affairs reacted to the tensions that have prevailed after Israeli defense authorities confirmed several drones and missiles launched at it on late Saturday. The Ministry of External Affairs on Sunday stated that the hostilities between Israel and Iran threaten the peace and security in the region. Hence, it calls for an immediate de-escalation, exercise of restraint, stepping back from violence. India has urged both the countries to return to the path of diplomacy. The Ministry of External Affairs also said it is closely monitoring the evolving situation, adding its embassies in the region are in close touch with the Indian community. And now to bring more perspective on this, I'm joined by DD India correspondent Jessica Taneja from the newsroom, and also joins us is Ambassador J.S. Mukul, who's been the former diplomat. Thank you so much, Jessica, and Ambassador, for joining us here on DD India News of Hour. First of all, Jessica, what is the latest that we are tracking on Iran and the West disturbances that we are witnessing right now, West Asia's disturbances especially?
We've heard from the leaders who've condemned this recent escalation in the region. As you know, from October 7 till now, many months have passed, but there has been no paucity and no proper consensus that would eventually lead to some end of this war or conflict that we've been observing and seeing the last so many months. Talking about the Indian External Affairs Ministry, as you pointed out, they have issued an advisory for Indian nationals both in Iran and Israel, asking them to get in touch with the embassies both in Iran and Israel and get themselves registered. And this, of course, escalation is being watched closely by the Indian authorities as well. And as you pointed out, that the only hope here is through diplomacy and dialogue. But given the significance of how this entire crisis is unfolding at this point, and as you pointed out, more than 100 cruise missiles, ballistic missiles and suicide attack drones have been fired at Israel, which have been thwarted by joint efforts of the Israeli military along with the Americans and the Australians and the Brits, who have been able to help them in creating that deterrence so far against Iran. And as you pointed out, the backdrop of this was the suicide attack with drones on the embassy, the Iranian embassy in Damascus, that led to the killing of 7 military officers of the Quds who were there, and according to reports, planning out and ensuring that their Middle East, the plan for the Hezbollah is continued. But so far, given the magnanimity of the situation and what all could be seen in the future, especially more reprisal attacks from Iran, apart from the 100-odd attacks that we've already seen through the missiles, drones, and more are yet expected, but no one knows how and when and how many, in fact.
Right, indeed. Thank you so much, Jessica, for joining us. Now let's go across to our guest, expert Ambassador J.S. Mukul, who's been the former diplomat. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us. Now let's take a look at how India has reacted to it, because they've released a statement calling for immediate de-escalation. And we've seen in the past also India's continuous effort to resolve conflicts, be it Russia, Ukraine, or be it Iran, Israel, through dialogue and diplomacy. And once again, India has come up with a similar situation. Sir.
Well, first of all, I think this is a region which is very, very sensitive. And therefore, rightly, any escalation and of the type that we are seeing could really get out of hand if it is not already in some ways. So first, when the Israelis attacked the embassy, the Iranian embassy in Damascus, and the killing of the diplomatic premises, we had at that time also expressed our concern and called upon all countries, called upon all that they should respect the well-known norms that should guide their actions in terms of international law, etc. Now, ever since, that was a very major escalation because it was the first direct kind of confrontation between Israel and Iran. Till now, you have seen that it was mainly with the proxies, whether it be the Hamas, the Hezbollah, or the Houthis, etc., who had been active. But this was on 1st of April, this attack was the first kind of direct action between the two countries. Now, obviously, Iran had promised retaliation, and they have actually launched these 300 missiles, both cruise and ballistic, as we understand, as also the drones. These have been, 99% of them have been intercepted or neutralized, and fortunately, there's minimal damage caused. Again, today, our statement expresses serious concern at this escalation of hostilities. If you break down our Indian statement, it has 3 or 4 elements which I think are important. First of all, it is calling for immediate de-escalation because this tit-for-tat business can go on, and as I said, it could get out of hand. Secondly, it is calling for exercise of restraint on both sides so that you can step back. And the third point is exactly that, step back from the violence and go to resolve the matters through the diplomatic route. So return to the diplomatic path. Why is it so important? Because we have major stakes in this region. This, as I said, is a very volatile region. It is sitting on a tinderbox, and any spark could ignite a holocaust there.
And when we talk about, sir, when we talk about the sensitivity of the area, as you just rightly mentioned out, India has always focused on very safely, bringing the Indians back to the country if the situation demands it. And we've seen that in the past also, how India's bilateral relation have played a key role in this area. How do you see India's bilateral relation playing a key role in that situation over here, sir?
We have very good relations with both the protagonists in this case. We have strategic partnership with Israel. We have civilizational and historical ties with Iran. So in that sense, we are well placed. But obviously, our first concern, the first and foremost concern is about our Indian nationals. First, the nationals in these countries. I understand there are about 18,000 Indian nationals in Israel, in addition to 80,000+ persons of Indian origin, Jews of Indian origin. So that makes a diaspora of almost 1 lakh of people in Israel. Similarly, we have Indians in the thousands in Iran. So naturally, our first and foremost concern is the welfare, the well-being, the safety and security of the Indians. I don't think we should immediately jump to the conclusion that we would like to bring them back, because the response in such matters has to be proportionate. And rightly, the ministry has said, reiterated, that they are closely monitoring the situation. The embassies are in touch with the Indian community and the diaspora. So I don't think a situation has been reached that you should start evacuation. Of course, that will always be an option. And in that sense, India's good and cordial relations with both the sides would be of great help. But if I may continue and add, it is not just the Indian community. That may be the first and foremost concern, but we have really strategic interests in this region. Because, and when I talk of strategic interests, it is manifold. We have economic interests, for example. We have, you saw the taking over of a container ship in near the Hormuz Straits yesterday, which had 25 crew, out of which 17 were Indian nationals. So their security and safety, the keeping the shipping lines flowing. We have had problems in the Bab al-Mandab area or the Red Sea area with regard to the Houthi attacks. And there, of course, the Indian Navy has been doing a great job. So that is a concern. Also, as I said, on the economic side, immediately there's a tension in this region. The world oil and gas prices, we are a major dependent on for our energy supplies, both oil and gas from this region. And immediately the global prices of these go up, leading to inflationary trends in India. There is also a lot of trade and investment stakes with regard to this region, and not to talk of the remittances from the 9 million Indians which are there in this region. Actually, to summarize, this is what we would call our extended neighborhood. It is an extended neighborhood, and so naturally we have a lot of interest, a lot of stakes riding in this region. So naturally the ministry and the government and the country want the de-escalation, want the protagonists to step back so that there is no further precipitate action, and we can come back up to the negotiating table.
And once again, India has reiterated peace through dialogue and diplomacy. Thank you, sir, for joining us and bringing us a rounded perspective on India's stake and how important Israel is for India as their partner. Thank you. Moving on, India marks the birth anniversary of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, the father of Indian Constitution, who also served as country's first law minister. On the occasion, President Draupadi Murmu, Vice President Jagdeep Dhankar and Prime Minister Narendra Modi paid floral tribute at his statue in the country's parliament premises. On the 14th of April, India celebrates Ambedkar Jayanti to remember his immense contribution to the society. His contributions to uplifting marginalized communities, advocacy for social justice and relentless pursuit of equality have left an indelible mark on Indian society. So 14th of April marks the birth anniversary of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, who's been a prominent figure in India's history and the chief architect of India's constitution as well. Here's a detailed report.
Born on April 14, 1891 in Madhya Pradesh, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar overcame immense adversity to become one of the most essential leaders of modern India. As the chairman of the drafting committee of the Indian Constitution, he played a pivotal role in shaping the nation's foundational document, ensuring principles of equality, justice, and liberty for all citizens. Dr. Ambedkar's contributions extend beyond his role in drafting the Constitution. He dedicated his life to the upliftment of Dalits, formerly known as untouchables, and fought against social discrimination and inequality. His teachings on social justice, equality, and education remain relevant and impactful to this day. Many are using this day as an opportunity to renew their commitment to fostering a more inclusive and equitable society. Every year on 14th April, various events and ceremonies are held across the country to commemorate Dr. Ambedkar's birth anniversary. From educational institutions to government offices and community centers, people from all walks of life pay tribute to his enduring legacy. The birth anniversary of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar is not merely a day of celebration, but also a moment of contemplation and action. His vision for a fair and egalitarian society continues to guide India's journey towards progress and prosperity. By honoring his memory, Indians reaffirm their dedication to uphold the values which Dr. Ambedkar tirelessly advocated throughout his life. Kriti Vadera for DD India.
It's now time to take a short break, but still to come on DD India News Hour. Indian wrestlers shine at United World Wrestling's international event, securing big victory. And two fan favourites of the Indian Premier League, Mumbai Indians and Chennai Super Kings, all set to face each other at Mumbai's home ground today.
Across the world have lost such perfect weather days to extreme temperatures and extreme weather events. We're just always hopping from heat waves, droughts, forest fires to floods, hailstorms and cyclones, and then the cold wave.
Here the root causes, we are forgetting that our vernacular traditions have been climate friendly. Climate change is a new thing.
Yes.
None of us have dealt with it before.
People are not aware of the risk. They are unwillingly exposed to high level of air pollution, heat, both outdoor, indoor. So the first step definitely is that creating awareness among them.
Millions of liters of water flow down the Rhine that covers Mannheim's heating needs several times over, even at such cold temperatures.
Rivers are squeezed into ever higher and narrow banks to give space to houses, industries, and agriculture. We need to reverse this approach.
Welcome back after that short break. You're watching DD India News Hour with me, Deepika. Well, Nigeria has rolled out a new vaccine that protects people against meningitis. The new vaccine, which is called Men5CV, according to the World Health Organization, offers a powerful shield against the 5 strains of the ailment in a single shot. DD India correspondent Desi Makinde reports from Jos in Nigeria.
The WHO says the new vaccine provides broader protection than the one currently used in Nigeria and much of Africa, which is effective against only one strain. Nigeria's Health Minister Ali Pato says it took the country 13 years to produce it in partnership with the Serum Institute of India and Global Health Organization PATH. Nigeria is among countries in Africa known to be endemic with meningitis. In October, an outbreak was recorded in the country, which led to 1,742 suspected cases, 101 confirmed cases, and 153 deaths. Meningitis is an infection that leads to the inflammation of the membranes that surround and protect the brain and spinal cord. It is caused by viral, bacterial, fungal, and parasitic pathogens. Symptoms often include headache, fever, and stiff neck. The Nigerian government has launched a vaccination campaign and rolled out 1 million doses of the vaccine to help save lives in the country. Director General of the World Health Organization, Tedros Ghebreyesus, says the new vaccine brings the organization a step closer to its goal of eliminating meningitis by 2030 and has recommended it for global use. Tasum Akende in Jos, reporting for DD India.
The United Nations says more than 1.7 million people have now fled to Sudan due to the conflict there. They have fled Sudan. Many are now in South Sudan, Egypt, Chad and Ethiopia, where they are in a desperate need of humanitarian aid. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un met with Chinese top legislator Zhao Leji and affirmed his position to develop long-standing ties with China, state media KCNA said on Sunday. Chinese top legislature also concluded a goodwill tour in the country on Saturday. Zhao is the highest-ranking Chinese official to visit North Korea since 2018. State media on Sunday said that Kim is also expecting a two-country to steadily carry forward and develop the durable traditions of friendship, further strengthening bilateral ties between North Korea and China. Thousands of reproductive rights supporters rallied on Saturday in U.S. state of Florida to support a voter referendum that would lay down abortion protections into the state constitution. Earlier this month, Florida's Supreme Court had cleared the way for a 6-week abortion ban to take effect on the 1st of May. While Florida has voted Republican in recent elections, the Democrats hope that the campaign will boost their chances to win the southern state in November's presidential election. The issue of abortion has tormented Republicans since 2022, when the U.S. Supreme Court's conservative majority reversed 5 decades of precedent and eliminated a nationwide right to abortion. Now let's take a look at other stories making news around the globe. At least 8 people, including a child, were killed in a fatal gun attack in Chicago neighborhood in the U.S. on Saturday. According to Chicago police detective Ton Jeremy, the shooting occurred near the 52nd Street and South Damien Avenue. Officers responded to an alert indicating 18 rounds fired at the location. Police said the shooting was likely the result of gang violence. Venezuela's President Nicolas Maduro on Saturday proposed a constitutional reform to include life imprisonment for crimes of corruption and treason. The proposal of the left-wing leader comes after the corruption scandal in which former oil minister Tarek al-Aissemi was arrested this week. The Venezuelan constitution establishes that custodial sentences do not exceed 30 years in prison. Hollywood A-listers including Robert Downey Jr., Margot Robbie, Brie Larson and several others walked the red carpet for the Breakthrough Prize ceremony at the Academy Museum in Los Angeles on Saturday. The occasion celebrated the superstars of science who've developed breakthroughs in their fields, leading to solutions for medial or societal issues. You're watching DD India News Hour, and now it's time to get you to all the sporting updates. Later in the day, Mumbai Indians will take on arch rival Chennai Super Kings at Mumbai's Wankhede Stadium. Now, after losing 3 consecutive matches in the initial matches of the season, Mumbai have made a comeback by winning 2 matches, one after the other. Meanwhile, Chennai Super Kings, ranked 3rd in the points table, have won 3 out of 5 matches. Chennai will try to improve its position with a victory in today's match. On the other hand, Mumbai Indians, who are coming after winning the last 2 matches, will take the field today with the intention of scoring a hat-trick. Reigning Asian Games champion Palak and Sayam kept the Indian shooting squad on the course for a 20th Paris Games Olympic quota as they stormed into the finals of the ISSF Final Olympic Qualification Shooting Tournament in Brazil on Saturday. Palak shot a score of 578 in the first qualification relay. Meanwhile, Sayam shot an identical score in the second round to take the 6th and 7th qualification spots. This has given India a boost in their endeavour to grab one of the 2 available quota places. India's 3rd entrant, Surbhi Rao, also shot 578 but missed out on making the top 8 on lesser hits in the inner 10 ring. The final will be held on Sunday. In wrestling, India's Radhika clinched a silver medal in women's 68 kg weight category, while Shivani Pawar won a bronze medal in women's 50 kg weight category at the Asian Wrestling Championship. Radhika lost the final by technical superiority to 2-time world champion Nonoka Ozaki of Japan. However, confirmed the 2nd silver medal for India in this competition. Radhika made it to the final after 2 dominating victories in the earlier rounds. She pinned the home favourite Gulnura Tashtanbekova in the semis to book a place in the final. Meanwhile, Shivani Pawar upset the 2-time world silver medalist of Mongolia in a very close bronze medal bout. She was trailing for the major portion of the match but bounced with the 2-pointer turnover in the final 5 seconds to clinch the medal. In tennis, 2-time champion Ruud and Tsitsipas will take on Norwegian Casper Ruud in the finals of Monte Carlo Masters on Sunday evening. Early on Saturday, Tsitsipas stunned 2nd seed Yannick Sinner by 6-4, 3-6 and 6-4 to advance to the final. The 25-year-old Greek, who won the title in 2021 and 2022, kept his cool after a near-flawless display in the opening set to stop Sinner from producing a stunning comeback. Meanwhile, Casper Ruud stunned top seed Novak Djokovic by 6-4, 1-6 and 6-4 in a thrilling semi-final encounter. Norwegian Ruud had lost to Djokovic in all 5 of their previous matches. However, 5 unforced errors from Djokovic allowed him to go 3-0 up in the decider, and he calmly closed out the victory. And that's all for this edition of DD India News Hour. But let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. You can connect with us on Facebook, X, formerly known as Twitter, and Instagram. We will be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I am Deepika Mehta, and from all of us here in New Delhi, thank you so much for watching DD India News Hour.